Hey folks, in this video we are going to examine Lincoln Square. It's a neighborhood that extends technically all the way from 59th, Columbus Circle, west to the river, the Hudson River. Although that area is a very new area, a lot of new condominiums there, up to Riverside Drive. That's where Riverside Park starts on 72nd and across to Central Park. So it's bounded by Central Park, the Hudson River, and 59th and 72nd. This area is well known for, obviously, Lincoln Center, which is right behind me. It is the one of the premier performance arts sites. They have the Metropolitan Opera, New York Philharmonic, various other performance studios, playhouses, and auditoriums. And in the summer, they have outdoor performances, many of them free, some of them dance performances where you can participate. So go through the video and you'll see those. So Christopher Butt here with the Corcoran Group, and we're going to embark on our journey. Follow me and subscribe so that you can find out about more videos. I'll be doing many about different areas of New York City, and we all can also help you outside of New York City since we are part of the Anywhere Network. All right, so Lincoln Square is also the area where our office is located. We're at 67 Columbus, up on the second floor there. I'm not sure if you can read the Corcoran signs. Not very obvious, but it's a very good office. And we have pretty decent access to most of the city from here. We're one block from Central Park, so take a little walk over there and get up to 72nd, which is the other part of Lincoln Square. It starts up there, goes all the way down to Columbus Circle. The famous Imagine memory to John Lennon, I believe, had a song called Imagine. Tourists here. And it's a nice time of year that you can actually see. This is the Dakota. You can buy some memorabilia. Central Park is your backyard, or front yard. Is run by the Central Park Conservancy. It used to be run by the City of New York Parks Department. However, it became increasingly difficult. The bridle path down there, so the Central Park Conservancy took over, and they raised funds, have volunteers, hire personnel, and put a fair amount of money into the park to beautify it, make it what it is today. The Majestic, which has a sister building. So the Majestic is a co-op, and the sister building is down on 25 Central Park West, which is the Century, same designers. But this is not a very tall building. Back in the day, it was the only building here when they were building the park. It's a new development site, and supposedly people couldn't understand why they would want to go all the way up 72nd to live in this newly built, at the time, rental building, co-op. So it's about 150 years old, I believe. And when people question, so why are we going up to live in the Dakotas? So the name stuck. And this building is called the Dakota. 20 years later. So we stop here, underneath, 72nd. Entrance over there. The entrance over here is concealed by these gorgeous pre-war sculptures. Authorized persons only. Here I am at the Dakota. That's the entrance. I've been in there for various reasons, but yeah, Berta Flack just she lived here, so it's a very elite and ancient place. Just came in from the park. We're in the northern part of Lincoln Square. Definitely Upper West Side, the square being the southern portion of the Upper West Side, starting here at 72nd, going down to 59th, with Lincoln Center in the middle, 66th. This is some more local law 11 scaffolding I've mentioned in some other videos. This is required in the city of New York. Buildings above 6 stories need to make sure that no pieces of the building are about to fall off and hit anyone. Some nice restaurants scattered around here. Bars. These are all mostly apartment buildings. That's a fire truck, not a pressure cooker. There's a fire somewhere, or maybe not. Come to the Olcott, not that well known a building, but it was converted from single room occupancy hotel to condominiums several years ago. Pretty decent finishes, a whole lot of views, but a nice modern type look inside. This is a rental building. More rental buildings. Charges, I believe it's another condo. Pre-war, not that many pre-war condominiums, because most of the buildings, the older buildings, were originally rentals that got taken over by their tenants. The landlord could no longer provide them the services they needed. They bought them out through a cooperative effort in the form of a corporation called a co-op. So all the buildings that you see that are co-ops mostly would have been rental buildings in times past, taken over by their then tenants to the owners, shareholders. They don't own the property. They own shares in the corporation that holds the property. Hence, they do not need to pay taxes. The building pays taxes, and they pay maintenance to the building, so that the building is the taxpayer. It pays for a lot of all their amenities, have that many additional amenities, the swimming pools and golf clubs and so on, because they're older buildings. Anyway, we're here at Columbus and 72nd, and continue our tour. All right, so here we are in a very classic Upper West Side, old New York establishment, Gray's Papaya. And I've probably been here 50 or 70 years, something like that. But it's a very important intersection here. This is Broadway, Amsterdam. They come together here. That's a bank building over there, which has also got some condos. And 72nd Street, West 72nd. A bunch of banks here, crosstown bus. The 1, 2, 3 subway stations. Over here we have a little park called Verdi Park, named after the opera composer. Restaurants. So this building over here was built as a rental building not too long ago, one of the highest priced rental buildings in the city, and they sold it to TIAA Cref. I think they had it for a while. Now it's been converted to a rather high-end condominium. It's still being sold by the sponsor. We've got huge Trader Joe's in there. Let's see Wayne Reed upstairs. This is one of the entrances to the subway. There's another entrance to the subway, and Alexandria, nice condominium with a swimming pool, as well as the building where Babe Ruth stayed. It was a hotel at the time. They had cows and chickens on the roof so that the residents could have fresh eggs and milk. A lot of times the residents of hotels just live there. I'm sure many of you have seen the old movies. So they're hotels for people, many of the hotels here, residential. This one, very, very, the Ansonia. Now, believe it or not, a condominium. Has, I believe there's a school in there for acting, fancy stores. There used to be a lovely cafe, which is gone. Oh, here comes the sun a little bit. It's been fixed up. I think they had their local law 11 about a year ago, or less. Again, the Apple Bank, which has also got some condominiums. Very expensive because there's a doorman for 12 units or something. And as we go up Broadway, we're still on the Upper West Side, but coming out of Lincoln Square. You have the Astor, you have Apthorpe on 79th, Bell Nord, so on and so forth. Famous old buildings, many of them being converted into condominiums at a very high price. All right, so here we are in a completely different section of Lincoln Square. It's really not exactly Lincoln Square. We're on the water. So this section is called Riverside Boulevard, as opposed to Riverside Drive, which ends at 72nd. And it's fairly new. The sections up there were developed by President Trump. Well, he wasn't president, Donald Trump. And started this whole development here along the water. Behind me, you can see the river, Hudson River. That's New Jersey, the next state. And it's pretty windy out here, not at this particular section, but walking here was a little wind tunnel. And in the winter, it's a little colder, but these buildings are all brand new, not brand new, but 90s constructions. And they keep going. So the ones up there, 90s, then they kept building. They're all different builders, including Excel, who's a very big New York City builder, all the way down to 1 West End, I think, which is 59th, probably, 59th Street. So this whole row, it's a beautifully developed area in the sense that there was nothing here before. They call it Riverside Park South. Lots of open area parks, and it's not the traditional Riverside Park, which I said ends at 72nd Street, but you do have this highway, obviously, the raised highway, which is not the best for high-level apartments, but as you can see, many of these apartments are well above highway level. And I'm in the 60s here, but if you go to 71st Street, there's a nice little pier. A pier that you might be able to see underneath the highway that goes out into the water. They have performances in the summer, and there's a restaurant. Outdoor restaurant called Pier I. It's a hopping area in the summer. So here you have it for Riverside Boulevard, all the way down between West End and the water. Very residential area. Few restaurants and things, but mostly residential. All right, so we've been going through Lincoln Square, and this is Lincoln Center, right? The heart of Lincoln Square. We have Lincoln Center, the beautiful fountain you see behind me. It does a lot of interesting things in the summer. I'm sure it can do it now, but not too many people around watching, so the theatrics of the fountain are not in full bloom here. That is the Metropolitan Opera right behind me. They have some big banners in front of it, but they're gorgeous Chagall murals behind. And we got the State Theater or Koch Hall, by the Koch brothers gave the money for that, to rename it and redo it, that is. They all had different names. And here we have David Geffen Hall. It's the home of the New York Philharmonic. Behind me also is, on this side, Damrosch Park, which has a band show in the summer, lots of free performances. And there's some open area over there. There's another set of theaters, a movie theater, and plays, so we'll go take a look at those. Back in the day, we had the old Met Opera, the Carnegie Hall, which is America's premier concert hall, and they were considered old after the war, so they built this whole new section here. They destroyed, or tore down rather, the Metropolitan Opera down on, I think it's 38th Street or so, moved it up here, and they moved the New York Philharmonic here, and almost tore down Carnegie Hall, but luckily someone saved it. It was the, I think it was Isaac Stern and a bunch of people who saved that hall from the wrecking ball. We also have rental buildings, and the new condo, it's on 66th, popping out up there. Some more Central Park West buildings, the Empire Hotel, more co-ops. So it's a nice little opening here. We used to have Fashion Week here at one point, back in the Damrosch Park, but it's quite a nice plaza in the summer. They opened it up for movies of operas. They also have dance. You can come out here and do ballroom dancing, and it's quite a cultural center, let's say. Lincoln Center Theater celebrates 40 years, so that's just the theater over there. We also have the Juilliard School and the dorms for American Ballet School, and behind that is another one of those, I believe it's the Millennium Tower condo, and we walked past some of these in the past. So in the summer, there's a beautiful green lawn here. It's not as beautiful right now. There's a nice restaurant, Lincoln Ristorante, Italian food, pretty fancy. You can sit inside, outside. And then they often have art exhibits in this area here. It's a lovely reflecting pond. You can sit out and enjoy slightly warmer days than today. I believe that's a Henry Moore, famous sculptor there, created these. As I said, the lawn looks a lot better in the summer. That's the restaurant underneath. And let's go to the other side. So looking south here, we get to see a lot of the surrounding rental buildings, Brodsky, and some condos, co-ops. A little bit of the Time Warner Center, which is now called Deutsche Bank Center, and a little bit of the tallest residential building, which is Central Park Tower down on 57th Street. You saw Jackie Kennedy in here once. Yes, a long time ago. And this is where we used to, at one point, have fashion shows. They had all the tents put up here. They moved here from Bryant Park, and then decided this is also a public space, so couldn't have private events such as Fashion Week. It's really for the buyers and the designers. But this is Damrosch Park, and they do have some very nice free performances in summer, a lot of dance performances. Some of this is the Fordham University campus here, business, law, more condos, another rental development, and then off we go to West End Avenue and Riverside Boulevard. There's a whole development over there, several developments as we mentioned, but there are three buildings in particular which were built Waterline Square, three different architects, so that's rental and sales. I'm sure any of you who are on social media have seen these hallways. A lot of people like to take pictures here when they come out of the theater. They do have the New York City Ballet and a bunch of other performances in this theater. Looks like headlights inside. That's a decor. Beautiful balconies. Looks like they have some new sculptures up on the balcony over there. David Geffen Hall. This is our Performing Arts Center here in the middle of New York, Upper West Side, Lincoln Square. Some lights going on. So the holiday lights, even though we have no holiday on March 1st here. And the Empire Hotel with some nice restaurants and grills. And again, not too far, a block away is Central Park. Gives you an idea of the beautiful area over here, Lincoln Square. A lot of people like to live here.
because you've got a lot of culture, a lot of restaurants, and transportation. Central Park as well. So very desirable area.
Now that's the view. That's the Alexandria over there. And behind it, you cannot see the Ansonia, Applebank building, Verdi Park. There's the Twin Towers of the San Remo. See a bit of the Majestic. And of course, the Dakota is barely visible since it's not a very tall building. Now, here's a fireplace. Not needed today. In the south, we have the Doralton Millennium Buildings, 432 Park. The new building on 66th, I believe it's 50 West. There is Nevada Towers. So very, very central west location. There's the Ansonia. Just a little bit of it. 9H. Alrighty. They changed the decor from the rental for sure. Artwork. It's interesting. It's not the primary. It's got the double sink. Ooh, a turntable. And raised papaya down there. The door too. Whatever you. This has got a little primary. Ooh, all right, so this is 212 West 72nd. Built originally as a very high-end rental building, one of the highest sales when they sold the rental building, but it's now condos and beautiful layouts. Very convenient location, 72nd Street, Broadway. A little busy, but you can't hear it from up here. And there we have the 72nd Street subway stop. Verdi Square, which we've spoken about before. You know, this design is by French California. So very interesting if you would like to buy the apartment and the furniture, or use the furniture somewhere else. All right, back to 16. Yes, in here a minute ago. Look at that bathroom. Deep soaking tub. And a very large closet. Look at that. It's a room in itself. It could be built out beautifully. Let's see what we see out the back window. I believe this is west. There you have those buildings on Riverside, Boulevard, the rest of this building, and a bunch of little buildings on 72nd. There's some really nice light here. Smaller one. The second bedroom, maybe third. And one more. It's over here. Closet. This is a nice bedroom. This is the second bedroom. The one in the middle would be the third. All right, so here we are at Lincoln Square Farmers Market. They have this farmers market twice a week, and it's a little triangle park here that's 66th down to 67th. The park was named for a famous opera singer because we are right next to Lincoln Center. And they have this, it's not a huge farmers market, but they do it twice a week, Saturdays and Thursdays. So it could be for people on the weekends as well as for people who are working in this area, which is actually quite a few people, believe it or not, because of Lincoln Center and some of the other offices around. We have ABC TV here for a little bit longer. Not sure when they're going to move, but they are. And this is the Church of the Latter-day Saints being rebuilt, reconstructed. And we have Richard Tucker, who is the namesake of this park. Opera singer from the last century, 1975. He was born in 1913. So there is also a subway stop here for the one train, multiple bus lines, M66, which goes across town to the east side, back, as well as movie theaters, local stores, furniture, clothing, Zara, the Pottery Barn. And so this is sort of a very central portion of Lincoln Square. Got some good rental buildings, the Grand Tier, and 2 Lincoln Square, and then you obviously a bunch of condos, and it goes all the way down to Columbus Circle, which we will address on a separate neighborhood, probably more the Billionaire Row neighborhood expose, or at least some details on what you can find in terms, especially in terms of housing and some other attractions in the area. So if you go far enough east or far enough west here, you can hit the Hudson River. Obviously go far enough east, which is not that far, 1 block from here, Central Park. So essentially Lincoln Square is part of the Upper West Side, the little park. And that is Juilliard over here. And we'll also do a little filming at Lincoln Center, maybe part of Central Park. Up on 72nd, that's where it starts, down to 59th, which ends the Upper West Side and Lincoln Square. Obviously down by Columbus Circle, we have a lot of tall buildings, and Billionaire Road is right below that. So we'll have another tour there. Bakeries, fish, market, beef, pork, chicken, eggs, that's a lot. Vegetables, mushrooms. Oh, very radishy. Chicken, plants. That's why they call it a Greenmarket. This little triangle here is funded by the upkeep of this triangle, funded by the family of Richard Tucker, who I just mentioned was a very famous opera star in the previous century.
Why would you?
Only fresh pasta, look at that. Hard cider, apples, something over here that I don't see, apple chips tasty. So anyway, that's a little tour. Farmers Market here, Lincoln Square, 66th Street, Columbus, Broadway. You can see there are a lot of tall buildings, millennium condo buildings. Homer Century 21 was here. ABC is disappearing from here. This is walking up on Broadway now. Subway stop, the one train, and more Millennium buildings. That was Juilliard behind me. Also part of Lincoln Center. A lot of shops, furniture, Apple store that is, and many things come and go. So. Okay, folks, here we are at Lincoln Center. A very different view of Lincoln Center. This is the summer, almost the summer, but it's setting up for this big disco ball you see behind me. Doesn't look that big right now because I'm in the frame, much bigger. But it's a huge disco ball, and they do a lot of dancing, different types of dance performances. They're participatory, so you can come here and dance under the stars at Lincoln Center. There are lessons, there are bands, and silent discos, all kinds of things, all through the summer. This is one of the attractions here at Lincoln Square, right on Lincoln Center Plaza. Let's see if we can get a better view of the disco ball. That's always exciting. Right above the fountain. There you go. Huge. It's got to be at least 15 or 20 feet across. I certainly haven't seen a bigger disco ball anywhere. So this is a rental building called the Grand Tier. More Millennium buildings over there. Cafe Rosetta. Very Italian. Pizza and sweets and coffee. There's an area that I frequent a lot. I walk from my office down to Columbus Circle. Very pleasant area. Restaurants, bars, And someone once said they do cater to audiences at Lincoln Center. Walk through this little passageway, seating areas on either side. Fiorello is a former mayor of the city of New York. It's just a name that's been given to this restaurant. And the Smith, open late. Well, none of these things are open as late as they used to before the pandemic. When was the pandemic, you ask? It seems like it was a long time ago, but it did change a lot of things in terms of hours. Many of these places, I think the Smith stays open till midnight. Many of the others do. Earlier, on that side is the Hotel Empire, which to the rooftop. Some really nice parties, events, get-togethers. You can always go there and enjoy the rooftop on the Empire Hotel. And we're walking towards Columbus Circle. I think it's Bread's Bakery, which I'm sure there are a few branches, but this is the one I frequent. We tend to have these fruit stands. I don't know if you have these in other cities in America, but I just walk down the street and there's a fruit stand out there all day, all night, sometimes in ridiculous weather. Oh yes, here's Bread's Bakery. It's Cheesecake May. May is almost over, and so is Cheesecake May, but that's a fun bakery. Everything there is good. Never had anything bad. Obviously, some of it's bad for you. It's so good that it's bad for you. Oh, got the AAA over there. Atrium, where you have a lot of performances, or you can just drink coffee, depending on the day. The former Lincoln Plaza cinemas are no longer here, but historic. And of course, here we have a TV bank, Sephora. There's a few furniture stores, and then we're off to Columbus Circle. It's been a little tour of Lincoln Center, the Farmers Market, and some other attractions right here in Lincoln Square. All right, folks, here we are in New York City, Upper West Side again, Lincoln Square. This is something that we have every now and then. Street fairs. Obviously, they like good weather. It's outdoors. Today is not a rainy day. Yesterday was, so these people lucked out. This one is very short, I think. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. Got some nice Kashmiri rugs, bakery, Peking duck. You've seen the idea that people eating corn and buying hats and wallets. A lot of times people get very excited about these when they see them, but when you see them every week, it's pretty much the same ones over and over again. But they do have some good eats. This one looks like it's going from 72nd on down. A little loud music here and a lot of smoke. So normally this is Broadway, lots of traffic, but now it's a street fair. Traffic going one direction, not the other. Still have to look out though, because they have cross streets and there is traffic on the cross streets. So while you're crossing the street, make sure you don't get hit. We have some random bikes, skateboards, baby carriages. There we go. And baby carriage and dog over there. Now we cross the police barriers, at least no traffic here. You can get your palm read. Buy some jewelry. So you see there's quite an eclectic combination of things here. Dim sum to dresses. Got to look out for the cross street again, 70th Street. Hopefully not a lot of traffic today. I think we've spoken about some of these buildings before. We've got the Nevada Tower right here. We have 200 Amsterdam, which is a brand new high-rise. Some more arts and crafts, books. Actually got my start here at a street fair, believe it or not. My manager back in the day opened up a stall. Win a no-fee apartment. And I had somebody come by and sign up and go out with me and rent an apartment. So it can be useful, but I don't see anybody doing real estate out here. German food, now that's one of my favorites. The bratwurst stand. Let's see if I can get a nice, juicy, grilled bratwurst. One of the local restaurants don't get a lot of business during these fairs. All right, so I just picked up this amazing Bauernwurst, not bratwurst, but Bauernwurst from the street fair. Like you saw, I found them in this, I think it's around 70th Street, right by our office. So rather than eat in the street like most people, I brought it back to the office. So good. Juicy on the inside, nice and crisp, brown on the outside, a little bit of sauerkraut, mustard. Once or twice a year, I get to eat one of these. Anyway, we'll probably go out there, walk through the rest of the street fair in a bit. I have a few more showings this afternoon, all in this area, Lincoln Square, so I won't be traveling far. Behind me, you will see the Target, and it's in a fairly modern condominium built over the last 5 years or so, pandemic time. The Park Loggia, so a lot of these residences have outdoor spaces. But that's because it's new. Right. Oh, it's smaller than your Target stores. On this side, we have a fairly famous building. It's not that old. That is 15 Central Park West. Seeing a lot of famous people bought in there back when it was built. I want to say 15, 20 years ago. Who knows? But it doesn't look like a very new building, even though it's fairly new compared to most buildings in New York City. It was there before, which was Mayflower Hotel a long time ago. We are coming up on Columbus Circle. So you can see here the Trump International Hotel. It is a residential and hotel property. You can rent your residences out on a hotel basis. The restaurant from Jean-Georges, very French, famous French restaurateur in there. You can probably see some of the chefs. Chef. There you go. They're working hard in there. Jean-Georges, famous French restaurant in New York City. This is Columbus. This globe here, it's a replica on a much smaller scale of the one from the World's Fair in Queens, Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. For those of you who don't know, the World's Fair was something that was a big deal back in the 40s and around the country, showcasing new technology, a lot of promotions for different states, and so on and so forth. So I think they actually held it in New York twice, but it was a very large sphere, much larger than this one, at the World's Fair. It still is, the Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. You see there are a lot of crazy stalls here, all to serve the tourists. Subway is down there. It's one of the entrances at Columbus Circle, which is where everything is measured from. So the distance to New York City is measured from Columbus Circle. It is a central point. Behind me is what used to be the Time Warner Center. It's now the Deutsche Bank Center. Time Warner moved out. Shops of related property, condos, shopping center, Whole Foods, Equinox. It's a mini mall. Not as big as the one at Hudson Yards, which is newer, but it was a good start. So here we are signing off at Columbus Circle. Let's see if I can get a little shot of Columbus. Oh. Right over there. Circle. Even though it's obscured by a lot of trees on the center. So the Silver Halls, Central Park Tower, tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere in the world, all residential. 220 Park South, 157, and that is Statue of Columbus. They ruined all the 100+ monuments. They don't care. So that's another little museum there, Museum of Arts and Design. Technically, that's the Midtown West, crossing 57th Street. I wanted to give you a view of this statue here. At one point when they were restoring the statue, there was a Japanese
artist who built a little cube up there you could go face to face with him. That was a while ago. So, all right, Columbus Circle, all the way up to Lincoln Square, sort of where it starts, ends up on 72nd, where we've been a couple times. And today we've seen the farmers market with a disco ball that's being set up for the summer dance projects on the plaza, and a few of the other attractions around.
All right, so here we discuss some of the pros and cons of living in the Lincoln Square area surrounding Lincoln Center. Obviously, one of the pros is you can go to concerts very easily. They're very close to you. There's the Beacon Hotel as well. Many performance spaces that are not exactly in Lincoln Center. Also, the Jazz at Lincoln Center is down on 60th Street. Also have the atrium here where you can go in and see some free performances. Central Park, where there are plenty of performances. So for the arts, it's amazing. What's some of the cons? Well, it's kind of busy. Big attraction here. A lot of people come here during the day and in the evening, and at night. One of the cons is that a lot of the places here close down at midnight. So this is something that's left over from the pandemic era. A lot of restaurants felt that they could save money by not hiring as much expensive staff. As wages went up, everybody expects more money, and so they cut their hours. They have shorter hours. They close around midnight, many of them, some of them earlier. The legal time for closing restaurants, or at least bars in New York City, is 4 a.m. So, yeah, midnight's a little weak. Other pros are obviously you're very close to Central Park. You're not far from the Hudson River, and Columbus Circle has a lot of shopping. There are many stores here. Quite a few restaurants, maybe not the same as downtown. Downtown has more restaurants, more trendy restaurants, and a little crazier than here. If you think this area is crazy, it's definitely busier downtown. So you get more restaurants downtown, fewer up here, but there are very sane and very high-end restaurants. We do have Daniel Boulevard, and by Lincoln Center we have another French restaurant there, very famous, and a lot of good grocery stores. We have a Whole Foods, we have a Trader Joe's. So it's got its share, but not quite compared to some other neighborhoods further down, which are denser and trendier. All right, so here's a little fact I'm sure you didn't know. Sesame Street is right here on Broadway and 63rd. There's the sign, and if you didn't know it, right here in New York City, Sesame Street. In conclusion here, Lincoln Square, it's the lower part of the Upper West Side from around 59th up to 72nd, and we have quite a few high-rises. It's a good location for high-rises if you're looking for that. Obviously, some rentals, some condominium, a few co-ops, and obviously you get Lincoln Center. Very beautiful performing arts spaces here in New York City, some of the best in the world, and not far from Central Park. So we've got Central Park over behind me there, 1 block away, a small block. And then a lot of shopping, Columbus Circle, which is not far from here, going down, and 72nd, which is further up. Also goes all the way to the river, the Hudson River. So we have some new properties that are in that direction, right off the river. Some of them a few blocks of walking, but for people who drive, it's no big deal. They all have garages there. Anyway, signing off, Christopher Butt with the Corcoran Group. Hopefully you liked what you saw, and subscribe, followed me, ask me questions, email me, or call me. The links in this video.